Hi, I'm Sarah Ellingworth, and welcome to my masterclass where we are redefining power as an expression of love. Our experience in learning about power has been a very colourful journey and one that has been fraught with trauma and pain. And of course, we live on a planet of duality, so that is part and parcel of the experience. And we only need to look outside on the global landscape to see projections of war, abuse, the desire for control. The word power has generated quite a negative connotation to it now. And it's very far removed from the true source of what real power is. And that's divine power, the only power that really exists. Human consciousness has a fear of power embedded in it. We didn't just make that up. That was created through experience. We created that belief system. The fall of Atlantis was one of the key components as a species where we still hold that fear and that trauma around power. The fall of Atlantis came about through the advancement of technology and the lust for power that was developed without the connection of love, Mother Nature, and a desire to support and nurture. So unfortunately, the abuse of technology and the lust for power meant that it superseded the heart-based intentions for this growth. It became very imbalanced, and as a result, it annihilated an entire civilization. And the trauma that was experienced through that process still lives on in our subconsciousness today. We live on a planet of duality. It is part and parcel of our journey here to be growing and learning through the light and the dark. And the darkness is here to serve us. How that darkness can serve us is through accelerated growth. It's why we came here. But in order to move through this successfully, we need to pay attention to the lessons. So what is power teaching us? What are we learning about ourselves through this negative expression of power? What does power through love look like? Our current relationship to power is unbalanced. It has a very negative connotation to the word. And in our relationship to the word power and the expression of power, it is very quickly associated with greed, corruption, control, manipulation, abuse. We also have the relinquishing of power, where we are not taking responsibility for ourselves or owning our power, which is why so many of us struggle with boundaries. Relinquishing our power can look like feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, victim consciousness. It also creates a sense of rejection, abandonment, and ultimately feeling unsafe. I do want to go back and highlight the boundaries component in our relationship to power. When we struggle to own our power, we struggle to implement boundaries. And it's one of the biggest issues that I see in so many of us at this time is our inability to hold, maintain, or implement a boundary. There's a really beautiful quote by Dr. Vasila Benenstock. When you are not used to being confident, confidence feels like arrogance. When you are used to being passive, assertiveness feels like aggression. When you are not used to getting your needs met, prioritizing yourself feels selfish. Your comfort zone is not a good benchmark. And I really loved that quote because it absolutely highlights our relationship to power and how we project it onto another. So when we see someone who's very confident, it can actually be quite intimidating. That's not about the person who you are witnessing or judging. That is a reflection of your trigger, your wounding in relationship to power. The only real power that exists is divine power. And that divine power is already within you. You are a divine being. You are divine love. You are divine light. You are divine power. This divine power is already within you, waiting to be expressed through you with love. So what does a healthy, healed, and balanced relationship to power look like? We are able to trust ourselves. We are aligned to the truth of who we are. And that unshakable knowing allows us to show up in ways where we can have the truest, most authentic expression of ourselves, regardless of how that is received. To trust life, to trust the divine, to trust our intuition and our inner wisdom, and allow that to lead us through life, where again, we are making choices in any given moment that is aligned to our truth. We are in our divine power, operating through divine love and radiating our divine light, which allows us to move constantly, co-creating with life and creation every day in any moment that is aligned to our highest vibration. It is a natural extension when we are in our divine power to take action. There is no fear. There is no resistance. We can still have all of our hard feelings, but we process it with deep love and respect and move through it and do the work that's required. One of the most prominent aspects of owning our divine power is having boundaries, implementing boundaries, even when you know that it's not going to be received well. Honoring ourselves. And as we honor ourselves, we honor all others. So when we show up with a no, where previously we have always said yes, that can be very triggering for others. But we do it anyway because that is right for us. It is your responsibility. You come first, you serve you, and that will be right for everybody else. When you are aligning that with integrity and respect, authenticity, your truth, that is what you're responsible for. Authentic and divine power coming through you creates space for you to have an open mind, to hear other perspectives, to hear other beliefs. And instead of feeling challenged or triggered by that, witnessing it, seeking to understand it, potentially even learning something new that you didn't know about yourself or the world or another, having an appreciation for that difference. And you may even want to adopt some of that or not. It doesn't matter. It's about the listening and understanding something opposed to you without the triggering. Having respect for differences. This is part of the unity consciousness. Owning your divine power allows you to merge further into unity consciousness, which is tolerance, acceptance, respect for the difference in others. Owning our divine power allows us to follow our intuition and take our own path, regardless of what everybody else is doing. It is doing, again, what is right for us in alignment to our truth and what we came here to do for ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean you have to fly solo. That means you can absolutely find your tribe, find your people, find who you resonate with, and learn through that. But sometimes that requires a breaking away. There are a lot of cultural, family, tribal conditions that are still showing up in a very unhealthy or potentially negative way for the soul. And it's a very difficult, challenging path to say no to a culture, to say no to your ancestral lineage, to say no to something that you have been a part of your entire life in order to break away from that and find your new expression, the truth of who you are. And sometimes you may go through that path only to come back and be a completely different person, but recognize the truth in your origins and in your roots, but you are showing up in a completely different way. You're there because you choose to be, because that is your alignment, not because you're programmed or conditioned without question. Can you see the difference? You acted on your authenticity, your power through your divine love to figure out what your truth is. So it doesn't matter where you end up. It's about what you are aligning to without the fear, without the judgment. When we are living and expressing our divine power, we get to show up in life with a playfulness, stepping into our creative geniusness. We can show up with flexibility. We don't need to be rigid. It doesn't have to just be one way. That's the control piece, which is again coming back to power. We also allow space and a feeling and sense of safety in our vulnerability. We all know how uncomfortable being vulnerable is, but it takes great strength and great courage to really be in your vulnerability and feel safe there. It can be done. It can be achieved, absolutely. But we need to lean into our divine power and our divine love and our divine light to be able to access that part of ourselves, to create space for being in our vulnerability as we grow and learn. Another aspect of owning our divine power is being able to see the opportunity in any given situation. Now, this is another challenging one when you are in the midst of chaos. Something diabolical has just happened. There's a huge upheaval, or you've been blindsided with a change. And that can very often invoke fear or trigger the wounding, old trauma. And that's fine to have your hard feelings, but at some point, when you come back into the truth of who you are and alignment to your divine power, you will seek the opportunity. Where is the growth? What am I learning about myself in this space with this lesson? And you are able to move through it with more ease and more grace. Doesn't mean to say that the lesson is any less terrible. Sometimes the lessons are just really quite difficult because, again, we're living on a planet of duality. But it's how we show up. When we keep aligning to our divine power, our choices are different. Our reactions are less in the moment, emotional, and we choose how we want to respond in our power with discernment, which is the next point. Applying discernment consistently so that you can show up with your truth in your power, with your light and your love. But you are using discernment at any given moment as to how much of yourself you want to share. How much of the space, the environment, the people do you want to surround yourself with? The opportunities that come by. Again, it's implementing a boundary. Thank you, but no thank you. So now that we have a clearer understanding of our unhealthy and negative connotations towards power and what a healthy expression of power can look like, I'm going to lead you through a healing exercise where we can clear and release some of the trauma and the fear and the suffering that we've experienced around power. So when you're ready, just getting comfortable, taking a moment to sit down, lay down, and bringing your awareness to your breath, taking a long, slow, deep breath in and out through the mouth. As you breathe in through the nose, really feel your belly rise. With a gentle hold, release out through the mouth and feel your belly fall on the exhalation. Inhale, belly rise. Exhale, belly fall. And just maintain that very gentle hold. It's like a suspension. Don't over control the breath in between the inhalation and the exhalation. And when you're ready, just bringing your awareness to your whole body with your breath, just feeling it becoming heavier and heavier with every breath you take. Allowing all the stress, all the pain, all the worry, all the fear that you've been holding within your physicality, as well as your mental body and emotional body, just feeling it, all of it drop away. There is nothing but this moment that you've created for yourself to receive. And as you do that, I'm going to bring in the white flame, bringing in the healing temple, bringing in the light of God, light of home, coming in through the apex, through the crown, coming in through all levels of the being. Just stay with your breath now. All discarnates, all entities, all dark force interferences, looking into the fear of power, the relinquishment of power within all levels of the beings, lining up the life stream as of cylinders, right, get into the light flame now, freeze. All contracts, those vows, agreements release. All entities, discarnates, all dark force interferences of fear of power, the relinquishment of power, right, all contracts, those vows, agreements release. Release. Can get the galactic vacuum in here. Cleaning that up, 11/10 the speed of the light, more intense, brighter, flooding the system, nervous system, endocrine system, thinking, lymphatic system, the muscular system, the skeletal system, brighter, flooding that, bringing in the electric violet light, more intense, all cords, attachments, and addictions to fear of power, control, abuse of power, brighter, all trauma, brighter, release, all the way through. Spinning that out, brighter. More intense, ramping up that light flame, more intense fear of power, all cords, attachments, and addictions to fear of power, release, including all implants, devices, mechanisms, activators, release, through the spinal cord. And you can take a moment here to reflect on where you are fearful of being seen in your truth, where you just want to hide. That is directly in relation to your relationship to power, being seen in your truth, where you project onto others the judgment of their power, thinking that they're arrogant or rude or obnoxious, looking at the abuse of power through other people's expressions. Or maybe you get triggered when you witness other people not owning their power. That's also a direct relationship to your power. Just feeling into all of those imbalances, all of the projections that you're holding towards power, just letting it all come forward, all judgment, all projections, all perceptions of power. Release, 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 release. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All the way through, all the way through. All curses. Show me the curses. We've got a few curses showing up here right now. Yeah, where we have had other people limiting our power. There's some gaslighting here as well. There's some illusions, delusions. There's trickery, dark magic, right. I've got Melchizedek coming in. Let's got Archangel Michael, all the power packs, all the cause attachments and addictions lining up through all off-planet karma. Can I get karmic board in here? Brighter, more intense, lighting it up through the frontal lobe, brighter, through the brain. Release, 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 release. All trauma, soul trauma, cellular trauma, all cords, attachments, and addictions, all thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Release, 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 release. Release, 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 fear of power, release, 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 release. Abuse of power, release, 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 all contracts and vows and agreements. Lighting up the cycle, there's a lot of sexual trauma here in relation to power and control. Whatever your story is, whatever, yeah, it's really ouchy in the back, sacral. Doesn't matter what your story is, and there's stuff coming up here that's not even yours, it's through your ancestral lines and also past life. Just let it all come forward. Again, no right or wrong. As hard as it was, as traumatic as it was an experience, and the more you hold on to it, the more it stays with you. So I want you to just, within every fiber of your being, with as much strength and courage as you can, just let it fall forward, like falling out of you. That releasing, the releasing of the pain, the releasing of the suffering at the hands of abuse of power, abuse of control. Release, 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 release. All the way through, all the way through, all the way through, all the way through, including all soul trauma, all cellular trauma. Can I get the electric violet light through the cellular body? Brighter through the pain body, brighter, flooding all levels of their being, brighter, more intense, all the way through to Mother Earth, brighter, release, release, release. Very good, well done. Just keep breathing at this point. We're just breathing through the release, really giving yourself permission to let go. And wherever you think your parameter is for this, wherever you think your limitation is, let it go beyond that. Even if you think you've got it all, release more. Release, 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 release. All entities, all dark forces and appearance, all entities follow the frequency all the way through. Can I get the flooding? Can I get the galactic violet? The galactic vacuum, please. All templates, implants, imprints, all reflections and refractions. Release, release, release. All the andromedans coming in through all coding of trauma, all coding of fear of power. Release, 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 release through all levels of their being. Including all cause attachments and addictions, space frequencies. Release, 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 release. Can I get that done fast? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Spinning that out, 11 times the speed of light, more intense, more intense, more intense, more intense, more intense. If you are feeling nauseous at this point, that's fine. It's just a lot of really older energy leaving. Just keep staying with your breath, letting all of it move through you. Now I have a divine prayer here. Just stay where you are, stay with your breath. And I'm going to read this divine prayer, and you are going to repeat it silently. Just allow your consciousness to flow with the words that are coming out of me. I now enter a ceremonial space within and around me for transformation. I call for concentric circular temples of violet light and diamond light to surround me now, centered within these divinely encoded concentric circular temples of light. I am now seated upon a luminous lotus throne. I am now in ceremony across all levels of time, space, dimensions, and realities, where instantaneous healing and divine knowing exist. I ask the karmic board, Sophia God, and my divine soul to clear, heal, reconnect, and fully activate the full complement of my DNA. I ask for these healings through the mind grid level, the DNA level, the karmic contract level, the core soul level and beyond, and through the ascension level, through all the bodies, all the lifetimes on Earth, and all other planets, including the present lifetime, to heal all damage, trauma, pain, suffering, and bring the healing into the present now. I ask for karmic healing in my relationship to power, abuse of power, and relinquishing of power, clearing all contracts, oaths, vows, and agreements to learn of myself through power struggles, dominance, and defeatism. I ask for the karmic release of negative thoughts, feelings, and beliefs towards power. I ask for the karmic release from judgment of myself and all others in relationship to power, including guilt, shame, blame, anger, resentment, rage, jealousy, envy, hate, victim consciousness, evil consciousness, fear, and negative desire. I ask the karmic board, Sophia God, and my divine soul to release me from the dynamics of the power struggle and fear of power belief systems. I ask to be healed of all that prevents me from reclaiming my sovereign divinity and the fullest expression of my divine power. I ask the karmic board, Sophia God, and my divine soul to fill my aura and all levels of my being with infinite divine light, so much so that no negativity, attack, projection, fear, or evil can enter, exist, or remain in my energy or being. I ask to seal this healing unto the light and unto protection forever with deep gratitude, deep love, and deep respect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. Just taking a few big, deep breaths at this point. And as you do that, I want you to really feel, visualize, sense a beam of light coming out through your crown into seventh plane of consciousness. And as that connection is made, feeling the downpour of divine light coming, entering in through the crown, through the brain, flooding your whole being. entering the sacral, the front and back sacral, just flooding that with divine light now. Your God self, your higher self, coming into deeper harmony and relationship with your divine power, your divine light, your divine love, pouring through your base and anchoring into Mother Earth. And just feeling into just the pure love, the joy, the reconnection in the truth of who you are, your full expression of power. And you can stay here for a while, just sitting with your breath. With every breath you take, anchoring that truth in, that light, that love, that power into every cell of your body, coming into deeper and deeper harmonious relationship with your connection to divinity, recognizing that you are a divine being. You are an expression of divine power. Thank you for being with me here today. I hope you've enjoyed the class, and I hope that we can connect together in the future. Blessings.